So something incredible happened to me this year, so I had to go back and look, because I'm a strong believer in that, write it down, make it happen. So last year I had written down, and I think I shared that story, that I want to, I had a house that I had lost, and I said, I want to own a home again someday and surround myself with color. And I thought that would be 5-10 years out. Well, within that year, what do you know? I acquired a house, got a personal loan, did a rehab, and the whole house is full of color, and I moved in February. So sometimes we think that in our head, we think, well, this is a really big goal, so let's just put that out there, but it's on my 101. So I want you to put, when we get to that part, really big goals, really little goals. But this year, I was at a lunch. I've always been working out, and I was thinking in my head, I really just need a physical challenge. So at the beginning of the year, I started dance lessons, but I didn't really have a partner, so it's kind of hard to do. And you have to pay a lot. So I'm like paying to dance with this guy. I'm like, I don't know. That's your business. Anyway.
I love her.
So in June, I got a new job within the same company that I'm with, and I was at a meeting with the CEO of the company, and he is an avid mountain climber, been climbing for 15 years, and when he talks to the company, he's really inspirational, and he shares these great stories, and he compares them to how climbing relates to the real estate business, and teamwork, and survival, and all these things. I've always been so inspired, but in my head thought, I gotta find something like that. So we're at a dinner. He's talking about the climb. Every year he also raises money for Easter seals, so it's called Climb for Kids. So the previous year they went to Alaska, and he's telling the stories of that, and I just happened to ask the question. I don't know what I was thinking. I said, so do any women ever go on these climbs? He's like, well, last year we had a female climber, but we don't have anyone signed up yet this year. Why, would you be interested? I'm like, I'm not a climber mountain, but I said, oh, maybe. And so then I just left it at that. And then within a week, he sent an email that said, I thought you might be interested, or it sounded like you might be interested. I'm like, it did? But he sent me all the links to how to train, how much it would cost for me to go, because this was going to be in Mexico, the altitude, which by the way was 17,500 feet and 18,500 feet. And you're going to have to raise at least $5,000 for Easter seals, and it's going to be 10 days away, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking, this is a lot. This is a huge sacrifice, because I'm a single mom, have full custody of my kids. It was going to cost me like $5 grand, and although I had just gotten a bonus, and I really should probably pay off my car, in my head I thought, these opportunities don't come along very often. And I know he said, you don't have to be, it's not a technical climb. We're not like, I'm not hanging on the side of a cliff. He said, but it's the altitude and the endurance. And I'm like, I have 4 babies, I got endurance. So this is a piece of cake. And we're climbing for what? 3 days? I can so do this. Okay, so I did do it, and there's lots of wonderful stories in between, and I was the only female, and there were 6 male climbers. One of them was a Ironman. Oh, good. And then the CEO is built like and they're all really physical, in shape men. And what's interesting is our perception of being in shape is what we look like on the outside, but we can also be very strong and not have 6-pack abs. So I've never climbed a mountain. And the first hour of the first climb, I said, what have I done? There is no freaking, and I said other words, that I will make it. This is just ridiculous. But after they took some weight off of my back, I made it. And then at the last hour of the first climb, I did 2 mountains in 1 week.
Tell us what you had in your...
Well, I don't want to.
She has some crazy things.
Well, I had my boots. My boots weighed 7 pounds. My mountaineering boots, because
those weren't crazy.
Those weren't crazy. And I had my, the harness thingy and my crampons that go on the bottom. So this is like, helmets and ice picks and all of this. So it was just too much. So we had guys they're called porters, that would carry our tents and our cooking equipment up the mountain. So they took all that weight off. And so as she's taking these things out, she's like, why is there an iPad in here? Well, I thought I might take some video at the top of the mountain. And Rick, I pointed to the CEO, I'm like, he brought his. And so they're yelling at him, here's a bad example. And then she pulls out a charger. She's like, so really? Well, we're going to charge this. I don't know. And then, I had playing cards. Like, when are you going to play cards? I said, well, when we have the bonfire. Like, there's no bonfire. We don't do bonfire. We don't roast marshmallows. We don't sing Kumbaya. You go to bed at 6 o'clock and get up at midnight. Oh, okay. So anyways, cosmetics, and I need my moisturizer, my contact solution, and you need all that stuff. But anyway,
It was funny.
So anyway, so after the first hour, and I'm taking much more time, but I'm the timekeeper, so. The last hour of the first climb, I literally feel like I cannot walk. I'm like this, and I've got my ski poles, and I said, I've done it. I'm done. I'm not doing this again. This sucks. I hate it. Check. Climb every mountain. And so then 2 days later, and the guys were all that way too. They all felt it was pretty. The terrain was really bad, and that was like 15 hours of climbing. Who does that? So anyway, then 2 days later, we're going to be heading toward the second mountain, which is 1,000 feet higher in altitude. And on the way, I'm crying and I'm like a mess. And I just said, I don't want to fail, because I had all these people on Facebook, people donating money, encouraging me, you can do it, you go. So I thought I was going to disappoint the entire planet, right? So they said, you're not failing if you don't summit the mountain. You only fail if you don't try. But I think it's that fear, when I had the first baby, I didn't know any better. I'm like, let's get him into the hospital. And then like 18 hours later, I'm like, who does this again? Who has babies again after this? And the same thing with the mountain. Who does this again? Who climbs? Who after this? Well, you do, because it's this wonderful, incredible experience. It changed my life forever. And I'm really excited, so I had to go through my little books. And because I didn't have on my list, climb a mountain. Like, no, that was not on my 101 goals. So I go back to 2009, and on there I said, be an example to children and others. So my children, really, they can no longer complain about doing the dishes, because I've got this whole, oh really, or I'm cold, like, oh really? So anyway, but they're trying things like, I want to, Hannah went out running, and she came back, she's like, Mom, and she's not running. I really wanted to give up, but then I thought, you're old, you climbed a mountain. So I kept going. I'm like, well, good. So that was in 2009. Be an example to children and others. I didn't know what that meant when I put it down. I just thought I want to, I thought maybe it was, volunteering at the school or something. 2011, inspire thousands of men and women. I didn't know. I thought I was going to be some big business speaker or whatever. So the thousands of people. Oh, I also forgot to mention that Realogy, who owns Century 21, has thousands of employees, and they gave me the Humanitarian of the Month award in just last week. So I've got the whole company and lots of employees, you have no idea who you impact. And people that I didn't even know liked me. They're sending thank you for sharing your story. So that was cool.
And the Post-Dispatch covered it.
Post-Dispatch covered it, and I'll be in the Women's Adventure magazine, which is a national magazine. They'll have my story in the spring. So I didn't know it inspired thousands of people meant, and that was kind of one of those, oh, sure, inspire thousands of people, sure. And then the last one was be on stage, and I have in parentheses positive, and that was in 2012. I don't know what that meant. I thought, did I think I was going to be a stripper? That's not like positive. So I'm like, that's a pretty positive thing. So I just really encourage you as we get to we're going to celebrate now, which is always fun, but to think, just put it out there. You have no clue what God, the universe, has in mind for you. And it may not happen this year, it may happen 4 years from now, or it may happen next week, as we heard from other stories in the room. So, I'm too busy being an entertainer that I don't know what the time is.
We're good. I'm watching the time.
All right, good for you. All right, we're still on time.
We are so on time.
Okay.
It's you still.
Oh, it's still me.
Actually, you love that.
I like to be. All right, are we on to? Oh, we did that. Okay, we are going to break. We're going to break probably in about an hour. We'll take about 10 minutes. Then we'll come back and we'll do some introductions. And
when you come back, if you come back on time, we'll draw. Everybody should get a ticket. Everybody in the room should get one ticket because everybody gets one ticket.
Yeah, everybody gets a ticket.
Yeah, let's get one. Go ahead.
For showing up, you get a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. This lovely book, we are not going to get through all of this today, but this is your workbook all year long. So I'll reference, we'll highlight some areas so you can put a sticky note on there or star it or turn the table or turn the page down. But this will be your guide throughout the year, and we're going to reference this throughout the workshop. So also there is a survey on page 2 So as we get towards the end of the day, we would love it if you would provide us feedback, because we do read all of them. In fact, one of them, what last year was, the room was really cold. So we can't really control the temperature of the building, but we brought shawls. So if you're cold,
So you guys, if it's cold, we have shawls for
we'll
you.
snuggle you up. Kevin, we're gonna put a shawl.
I'm not getting cold no matter what.